This video talks about oxygen, its inclusion in the atmosphere, the oxygen cycle, and the impact that humans have on the oxygen cycle, such as
Atmosphere. The atmosphere of the Earth reaches up to 10,000 kilometers or 6,214 miles above the planet's surface. The atmosphere then disperses into space after that. Only 21% of the atmosphere is made of oxygen, 78% of it is nitrogen, and the other 1% of it is made of other traces of gases. The first gas that the cyanobacteria produced through photosynthesis was oxygen. It is both dissolved in water and freely present in the air. It is the second most prevalent gas in the atmosphere and the most pervasive human body component. Most life forms on Earth depend on it, which is also a crucial component of biomolecules.
Process of oxygen cycle. As a result of the numerous processes that occur on Earth, oxygen is both consumed and produced in ever increasing quantities. Each of these individual processes contributes to the cycle. The carbon cycle and the oxygen cycles are inextricably linked. Process that use oxygen. Breathing in the scientific community, the act of breathing is known as respiration. When living things breathe, they deplete the oxygen in the surrounding air. With each breath, they take in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. Decomposing is the process by which dead plants and animals decompose after death. The process consumes oxygen while producing carbon dioxide. Rusting is also known as oxidation. Rusting consumes oxygen. Combustion require three components: oxygen, fuel, and heat. Fire cannot exist without all three. A fire cannot exist if there is insufficient oxygen when something burns, and the combustion process consumes oxygen and produce carbon dioxide in its place. It means the oxygen cycle is the process by which oxygen in its various forms circulate throughout nature. Oxygen is the second most abundant element in the atmosphere that is not already combined, and it exists in both free and dissolved form. Nitrogen is the most abundant element. Plants and animals consume oxygen as part of their metabolic process and then expel carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and water, or the CO2. Furthermore, oxygen is required for combustion, decomposition, and oxidation process. Three primary flow systems through which oxygen must travel in order to be circulated throughout the environment are the atmosphere, the biosphere, and the earth crust. Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants and algae produce their own food using solar energy, water, and carbon dioxide. And as a byproduct, they emit oxygen. This is the primary driving force in the oxygen cycle.
These are the things to broaden our knowledge about the anthropogenic effects of oxygen cycle. To begin with, a number of health issues appear to be brought by worse air pollution. A person's health can be negatively impacted by air pollution in a variety of ways, from minor breathing problems to serious cardiovascular problems. Large amounts of air pollution can have a number of negative health effects. Lung cancer, heart disease, and respiratory infections are all at increased risk because of it. Air pollution's exposure, both short-term and long-term, has been linked to harmful effects. The next one is deforestation. This can cause air pollution. Massive tree removal releases atmospherically stored carbon dioxide and turns the trees' capacity to absorb carbon ineffective. Forests that have been cleared for development have lower humidity levels and unstable ecosystem. Wildfires spread more rapidly and burn more strongly, creating more dangerous air pollutants. Wildfires and ongoing forest clearing react in a feedback cycle that releases greenhouse gases and affects global air pollution, the basic requirement for people's lives affected.
The most damaging effect on the oxygen cycle is deforestation. This prevents or significantly reduces the production of significant amounts of oxygen. Humans on their own do not consume enough oxygen to have a significant impact on the cycle. However, because they disrupt the resupply, they make it more difficult for the system to maintain its equilibrium. This has happened before in geological history, and it can happen again. However, they still continue to ignore the implications at their own risk. Another less serious effect is the excessive burning of fossil fuels, which is almost entirely made up of carbon and hydrogen. Although carbon is also needed in the cycle, an overabundance of anything is and has never ever been a good thing. Excess carbon and hydrogen released into the atmosphere could drown out and disrupt the oxygen cycle. Although unlike what most climate activists say, we don't need to stop doing it. Reduction and moderation of fossil fuel consumption would be a much more better plan to just simply stop right away.